right, you guys, we're going to jump right into this with no introduction. There's a lot that I would like to speak with you guys about. Can't wait to hear your feedback. A lot of lies that are being put out there, narratives that I would say are half-truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that. First and foremost, to let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world.
Something's not adding up. Candace Owens just dropped what she calls proof, a phone call that allegedly exposes Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, as the one who betrayed her. But this isn't just about a call, it's about jealousy, power, and a movement falling apart from within. Candace says someone set her up, and her target isn't a stranger, it's someone she once called a friend. So, what really happened between Candace and Erica Kirk? Was there truly a call that proves betrayal, or is this another feud spinning out of control? Before the accusations and the chaos, Candace Owens and Erica Kirk were seen as allies within the conservative sphere.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Erica Kirk, man, she really is just the moment. The speech that she gave, everybody was just wowed by her.
Attended the same events, shared stages, and even exchanged public words of admiration. But insiders say things began to shift long before Charlie Kirk's tragic death. Candace's growing criticism of establishment conservatives reportedly clashed with the direction Turning Point USA was taking under Charlie's leadership. Sources claim that disagreements behind closed doors turned personal, and trust between the Owens and Kirk camps began to fracture. When Charlie was assassinated, the shockwaves tore through the movement, and that's when Candace says the betrayal became undeniable. According to her, messages and calls that once came regularly from the Kirks suddenly stopped. Invitations vanished. She was left off the memorial list entirely. Candace went public.
That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Claiming Erica Kirk was erasing her connection to Charlie Kirk's legacy. That single accusation ignited an online storm, dividing supporters and fueling speculation that something deeper was brewing behind the scenes. But if Candace was truly cut off, why now? And what role does that mysterious phone call really play in exposing what went wrong? Candace Owens claimed she had been silent for too long, but what she revealed next sent her followers into a frenzy. According to her, there was a recorded phone call, one she says proves Erica Kirk's betrayal in the days following Charlie's death. In that alleged call, Owens insists she was blindsided by words that changed everything. She describes the voice on the other end as calm but cold, cutting her off from the movement she helped build and confirming her worst fear. She was being pushed out. Candace told her audience, "That's when I realized it wasn't about grief, it was about control." But here's where things get murky. Owens hasn't released the full recording publicly. Only snippets and transcriptions have circulated online, mostly spread by her most loyal supporters. And without clear audio evidence, many began to question whether this proof was real or part of a larger strategy to reclaim the spotlight. Yet, for Candace's audience, the details didn't matter. The betrayal felt real enough. They saw a woman who had given everything to the conservative cause being cast aside by those she once trusted most. Online threads and podcasts immediately exploded. Number Kirk Gates started trending. Screenshots of texts, leaked voicemails, and wild theories flooded social media. Some insisted Candace was exposing corruption within the movement. Others accused her of exploiting tragedy for attention. And as the noise grew, Erica Kirk, now the head of Turning Point USA, stayed silent. Her silence only fueled the fire. But behind that silence, insiders whisper, was something far more complicated. Because if you look closer, the history between Candace, Charlie, and Erica wasn't as simple as friendship. It was power politics in its rawest form. Years before the fallout, Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were inseparable in the eyes of their followers. Together, they built a powerful alliance, two outspoken conservatives who didn't just comment on culture, they shaped it. They toured together, appeared on each other's podcasts, and publicly called one another family. Owens even shared stories about helping Charlie win over Erica, saying she was part of their early love story. It painted a picture of loyalty and closeness, but beneath the surface, there were cracks. Multiple reports suggest Charlie became increasingly frustrated with Candace's rhetoric, especially her escalating online feuds and controversial remarks that drew backlash even from allies. Rumors say that in private, Charlie began distancing himself, and Erica encouraged him to focus on rebuilding Turning Point's public image. Candace, however, saw that distance as something darker, a calculated effort to push her out entirely. She hinted at betrayal long before Charlie's death, often posting cryptic messages like, "Not everyone who smiles at you is your ally." When tragedy struck and Charlie was assassinated, the fragile peace shattered. Instead of uniting in grief, the conservative sphere divided overnight. And when Owens wasn't invited, so if it was deliberate, what was the motive? Was Erica protecting her late husband's legacy or rewriting it? After Charlie's death, Turning Point USA needed stability. In stepped Erica Kirk. Elegant, composed, and far less combative than her husband, she quickly took charge of the organization and reshaped its tone. To many, she became a symbol of resilience, a widow turning pain into leadership. But to Candace, this transformation looked suspicious. She saw Erica's swift rise as a power grab, claiming that the machine was closing ranks, locking her out of a space she helped popularize. Candace pointed out that she was once central to Turning Point events, but now couldn't even get a seat at the table. Supporters began to echo her words, accusing Erica of sidelining Candace's influence and rewriting history. Photos of Erica at new Turning Point galas smiling beside major donors only fueled the narrative that she had replaced Candace in both influence and visibility. And yet, while Candace was speaking publicly, Erica said almost nothing. Every time Candace dropped a new claim, Erica's silence became its own story. Was she protecting her image or hiding something? Some argue that silence was strategic, keeping her above the drama. Others think it was guilt disguised as grace. But the real turning point came when Candace claimed to have proof that Erica had been speaking to political consultants about phasing Candace out months before Charlie's death. She said the phone call was the final confirmation. That statement divided even her own base, because if true, it meant betrayal at the highest level. If false, it meant Candace had crossed a line that could never be undone. As the story gained traction, conservative media scrambled to respond. Some outlets backed Owens, amplifying her claims and demanding transparency from Turning Point. Others distanced themselves, accusing her of spreading conspiracy theories during a time of mourning. On X, formerly Twitter, her posts were either hailed as brave or condemned as cruel. Podcasters like Rob McCoy and commentators tied to the Kirk family called her out for weaponizing grief. Yet, Owens fired back, insisting she was exposing what others were too afraid to say. If truth makes people uncomfortable, she tweeted, then maybe they should ask themselves why. The divide became painfully clear. Those who sided with Owens saw Erica as an opportunist. Those who defended Erica saw Candace as jealous and reckless. Turning Point donors were reportedly uneasy about the drama spilling into the press. What had once been a united front for conservative youth now looked like a civil war, led by one of its most recognizable voices. But even in the chaos, something else was happening quietly in the background. New leaks, text messages, anonymous sources, and claims that people close to Charlie had known about the tension all along. Whether true or not, every leak kept the story alive, and Candace knew how to use that momentum. So, what exactly does this alleged phone call contain? Owens has never shared the full audio. She claims legal reasons prevent her from releasing it, but she's described enough to let imagination do the rest. According to her, it's a conversation between herself and someone connected to Erica Kirk, confirming she was intentionally excluded from the memorial and disinvited from Turning Point's future projects. Skeptics argue that without actual proof, this is just performance, another Candace controversy, timed perfectly for maximum attention. Analysts pointed out how her social media engagement spiked after each new revelation. Still, Owens doubled down. She told followers, "The truth doesn't need permission. I'll release it when the time is right." Meanwhile, fact-checkers scoured through digital records, unable to find verifiable traces of the call or who was on the other end. The mystery only deepened when Candace hinted that the person who recorded it wasn't her and that it came from someone inside. That single phrase sparked countless conspiracy threads. Was the betrayal internal? Was Erica really orchestrating this? Or was Candace projecting old resentment into a tragedy? The truth remained locked behind a recording no one had actually heard. Behind the emotional headlines lies a brutal reality. Influence in the conservative movement is power, and power is rarely shared. Candace Owens built her career on controversy. Erica Kirk on control and composure. Their clash wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. The fiery outsider versus the quiet insider. The disruptor versus the gatekeeper. In political circles, whispers grew louder. Some said Candace envied Erica's newfound influence. Others claimed Erica was quietly pushing Candace out to protect Turning Point's brand from more scandals. Either way, the women became reflections of everything dividing their movement. Podcasts turned their feud into headlines. Memes, think pieces, and late-night segments turned private pain into public spectacle. And, as always, the audience picked sides not based on facts, but on feelings. Because in the age of outrage, perception often is the truth. And while everyone was busy choosing who to believe, the person whose name started all this, Charlie Kirk, was being overshadowed by the drama. Weeks later, the noise still hasn't faded. Candace continues to hint that more information will come out. Erica continues to lead Turning Point with silence and grace. But the trust between them, whatever it once was, is gone forever. Insiders now describe the conservative movement as fractured. There's Candace's camp, which thrives on exposure and confrontation, and Erica's camp, which prizes structure and control. Both powerful, both determined to define what the new right looks like without Charlie Kirk at its center. And that's what makes this story so haunting. Whether the betrayal is real or not, the damage is already done. The alliances that once built empires have turned into open wounds, and everyone's watching them bleed. So, where does this leave us? Candace Owens says she has proof of phone call that confirms betrayal. Erica Kirk says nothing, letting her silence speak volumes. Between them lies a movement in crisis, torn between loyalty and ambition, grief and control. Maybe that phone call does exist. Maybe it doesn't. But one thing is certain. In a world where every secret eventually finds a microphone, no one in this story walks away clean. Because sometimes betrayal isn't what's said on a call, it's what happens when power changes hands.